Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am here with the almighty Evan Rubinson, the CEO of Armadillo Enterprises. Evan, thank you so much for taking the time and inviting me here and showing me around the place.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for coming out. It's a great event, and I really appreciate everyone and the turnout.
Absolutely. So for those of you who don't know and haven't been following me on social media, currently at the time of filming this, I'm at the Armadillo AAA, which is Armadillo All Access, if I got that right. And it's just kind of like your pre-NAMM type of event. Well, you explain what exactly it is.
So the whole vision behind this was to be a little disruptive in the industry. And then in tandem with that, of course, getting people to see the facility. Very impressive facility, 118,000 square feet. A lot of other people don't have that to offer. Right. The custom shop where we make guitars start to finish. And I think it's very valuable to get reps, dealers, and publications out here to see what we do and how we do it. And then the other factor, being a straight shooter, it's great to tie up people's credit limits before NAMM time.
Absolutely, the business side of things. And so I would like for you to tell the story of how you and I got together, because I'm not Guitar World. I'm a one-man show here with my laptop and my little interface and my SM58. I would love for you to tell everybody how you and I got to meet.
So how we got together really is, I love good people. And after the Gibson lawsuit came down, of course, I went through hundreds of videos on YouTube and watched everyone's take on it, and most were positive towards the Dean guitar brand. That being said, though, your video stuck out to me because you were genuine, you were down to earth, you were a cool, normal guy who really was passionate about what was going on and what you were doing, and I respect that. I like making bets on good people, and I like forging relationships with good people. So a big part of it was, people kept saying, oh, why don't you send a guitar out to, someone that has 1 million followers or 5 million followers on YouTube? I don't care about that. I care about making bets on good people and forming the relationships with good people.
Yeah. And just to recap from my end, it was just it would be almost too cliche. Not if you were to send it to anybody with a huge following, that's great. But I represent, I think, the everyman. I'm like I said, I'm no Guitar World.
Yeah. The people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Those are your words, not mine. But no, seriously, I thought that was an awesome gesture, and I think a lot of people resonated with that, and I'm extremely lucky and thankful that I was the one of however many videos you decided to reach out to. So I appreciate it.
But it, look, again, my opinion is people earn it. And I love the whole reason I'm in this industry. It's a passion industry. And the whole reason I do what I do and get up every day and make guitars and do this whole thing is for people like you. And so, that's what I really want to support. It's not a money game for me. It's not a finance game for me. It's a passion play, and it's about connecting with people and providing them with great products that make them happy.
Well, again, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. So going forward from now, December 2019 into 2020, you're the CEO of Armadillo Enterprises. And from my own audience, we think of Dean and Luna, but there's a lot more going on. I mean, you guys do D-Drum, which I honestly didn't even really know about that much. I'm being honest. So if you could talk about, what you represent, who you are, and just what you all have, products for, basically.
Of course. So a big part of it is, obviously, we have 3 brands under one umbrella. That being said, I really try to compartmentalize those brands, and I have separate marketing people for them. I have separate sales people for them, and I really try to make each brand be able to have their own unique identity and really propagate that. So a big focus for me is, we have those 3 brands, and they're all under one roof, but they're all very, very different. They mean different things to different people, and we don't want to confuse them. We don't want to blend them together. They're very, very distinct. And of course, Luna caters to, back in the day, women. Mm-hmm. But at this point, it's certainly broadening. And the ukulele thing has been phenomenal for the Luna brand, travel guitars, and some of our really cool acoustic solid body stuff. And the Dean brand, of course, is a little bit more edgy, a little bit more metal, rock, and the D-Drum brand is really, really interesting because it was, of course, D-Drum stands for digital drum. And we kind of cut our teeth back in the day, before we acquired the company, cut our teeth on everything electronic. And we got away from that a little bit and started to focus on acoustic, still a very, very important part of our line, but I've really had a renewed focus on getting that electronic aspect back to that brand. People love the triggers, people love the modules, and we have a great legacy with it and a lot of cool stuff to do. So the Dominion kit that we came out with this year, kind of the mid-price birch, phenomenal. The Dios, the high-end maple stuff. But we're also, into 2021, we're really expanding the electronic line as well.
Very cool. So yeah, so it's just like, it seems like, although your Armadillo Enterprises, everything, it's like it's three separate teams, you know. And it's like I'll talk more about it, you know, when I get home back in Philadelphia. But there was a conference last night and like a Q&A, more or less, and like you had team, you know, it was yourself, and then you had your team members, like your people representing those individual entities of Armadillo Enterprises.
Exactly. You know, we have separate, like I said, product managers for each brand, separate salespeople, separate marketing guys, and I think it really empowers them to grow to an affinity to those brands. It makes them very connected to those brands. They understand it very well, and they can speak very intelligently on it, and they can do a lot of cool stuff with it. The more invested and the more focused you are at whatever you do, the better the result's going to be.
Absolutely, 100%. If I could just be a little selfish and talk about Dean. You know, Dean is like what my audience knows. You know what I mean. Like, not to knock any, you know, D Drum or Luna, but you know, Dean.
It's a flagship.
Yeah, for my audience, for sure. You have a lot of cool stuff that has just recently happened. You know, landing Christian Martucci, Kerry King, and then, you know, it's not out to the public yet, but just seeing your NAMM booth, I mean, I'm really excited for the things coming up in the near and, you know, somewhat distant future. So, I mean, first off, congrats, and, you know, I would love to hear how you landed Christian and Kerry, for example.
So
it's a very loaded question.
I have a really good story for Christian Martucci.
Okay.
I was actually hanging out at Rock on the Range about a year and a half ago.
Out in Ohio, right?
Yep,
okay.
Exactly. And it happened to be a rain delay, and I was hanging out backstage up against a post smoking a cigarette, and Christian Martucci happened to walk out of his dressing room, and I went over to him and I said, "Hey man, so do you guys get paid if you can't play for the rain?" He goes, "Fuck man, I never thought about that. I don't know." and we started talking, and he found out that I was the CEO of Dean Guitars, and he didn't know that at first. And he goes, "Man, it's actually crazy that I ran into you, because I've been looking at some of these Vs for a long time, and I really, really wanted one." And he goes, I've never really been with one brand, so it's not something that I want to do, but, you know, I'll send you an email and we'll go from there. Less than 6 hours later, I get an email from him, and he gives me all his specs, everything he wants. So I made him, and I rushed him, a custom guitar that I actually had to get back from a dealer that was pre-made. And wow. I had to get it back from a dealer that was local, take it back from them, and tweak it and everything, USA made V. Right. And sent it out to him right before his European tour. He was like, "Man, this guitar plays so well." He goes, "You're the first company I want to go exclusive with." He called me about 4 months later, and he was on tour, and he just said, "Man, I've never gone exclusive with a company. I have a lot of guitars I love to play, from Gibson to Zemaitis to you name it." He goes, "I want to be exclusive with Dean."
That's it. All because of, thank God for the rain delay. I mean, you wouldn't have landed Christian if it wasn't raining that day in Ohio. Exactly. If we didn't take a smoke break, whatever. That's awesome, man. Yeah. You know, Christian is a Philly boy, and I'm Philly. So when I saw that, you know, prior to you and I meeting, I was just like, oh, you know, he's from Philly, I'm from Philly. That makes it Dean that much cooler. And then, you know, here I am, a year and a half later. It's funny how things work out like that.
He's one of the coolest guys, one of the best guys to work with. He's a gearhead, knows everything about his guitar. You know, it's seamless working with him, because he can tweak everything and he knows exactly what he wants. Onto the Kerry point. So Kerry King, kind of a long time coming. Okay. Known Kerry for a while, but clearly been with BC Rich for 20 plus years. Yeah. And one of my other artist relations guys, Josh Maloney, was good friends with him as well. And so we had a few dinners and a few conversations, and he said, "Look, new ownership at BC Rich. I haven't gotten a new guitar in 6-7 years. Oh, wow. And, you know, I'm ready to make something happen." So we flew him out here and designed some guitars. Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that dropped officially like on Halloween of this year, I think it was, or at least I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, like that's like an ace in your pocket. Like arguably the best name and or face in the metal industry, like Kerry King. That's insane. So that's huge, man.
For us, it's a dream come true. And now to have Dave Mustaine, Dimebag, as well as Kerry King under one roof, I mean, it's incredible. And hopefully we're going to do something really cool with a 3 guitar package. One with each artist that is super iconic, and it'll be a limited series. This is in the works right now, no guarantees, but something where we'd have one exclusive guitar for each of our iconic artists, and we'd sell it as a package, as kind of an exclusive thing, hand-signed, artist appearances, and the whole deal.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure I and everybody else that just heard that will be on the lookout for that and saving up and be on the lookout for that. Now, just since Kerry is new, you spoke last night about I had asked the question at the Q&A, but I would ask it again just for everybody else. Is there any what is being done in terms of Kerry King's models, in terms of production, USA, just because there's different tiers for players. I mean, let's be real. Money's not growing on trees, so we want to cater or try to cater to everybody. So just if you could please just talk about the different lines that are coming out with Kerry.
Absolutely. So my idea is good, better, and best. Okay. So we have the USA, of course, it's kind of on its own. We have the limited run that we're starting with, but then we're also going to have regular production USA guitars. But the good, better, and best will all be imports. The best will be about probably a $13.99 guitar, and that will have Kerry King's signature Kaler on it. It'll have the Sustainiac. It'll have exactly, almost an identical replica of what he plays. Right. It'll just be an import model. And that's going to be the highest end that we make that's going to come from overseas. Then we're going to do kind of a middle tier, probably around $6.99 or so, and that will still come with Sustainiac. It will come with a Kaler, but not a Kerry King signature. Right. And it'll have, a few downgrades, so to speak. But and then we're also going to do probably a $3.99 or a $4.99 that may be a fixed bridge Kaler instead of the tremolo system. And that, of course, is going to cater to kind of the intro guys and maybe people that are saving up for that $13.99.
Right. Yeah. So it's cool that you're catering to everybody because, even. For example, I'm not a big Floyd or Kaler guy. Like I don't like whammies. So like even just because the fixed bridge is a little cheaper doesn't mean it's good and or bad or better than anything else. It's just like, yes, you're catering in terms of price, but you're also catering in terms of playability and what people are looking for. So I think that's really cool too.
And the one part you hit the nail on the head there. I don't want anything to be disingenuous. So if an artist loves what they play, I don't want to try to modify it just to be commercial. So the thing with Kerry is, he said, look, this is what I play. This is what I want to produce. And I said, I agree. That's what we need to do. We need to have your Kalers on there. We need to make it work. Even though Kalers are USA made and very expensive, we're still finding a way to make it work at that price point. But the big part is Kerry was receptive. He understands that he also wants to ingratiate a new and younger generation to his guitars, and some of those people can't afford that souped up, perfect guitar that has the Kaler, the Sustainiac, and everything, but they still get to have a Kerry King guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of going forward, not just so much artist-based, there's a lot of cool stuff coming out in 2020. A lot of newer models, a lot of ideas. I don't know if you can speak on it right now, so I'll leave that up to you. But I know, for example, there's a lot of cool ideas, especially with like the 7-string side of things. And just I would like to hear your philosophy on your mentality on that.
So I'll go ahead and spill some of the beans. Okay. So it's been a big focus lately on not only, so we came out with the Select series last year, and we did that really, really high-end approach, the satin finish neckbacks, Grover tuners, 5A flame maple tops, salt and pepper Seymour Duncans, and they were beautiful, but we wanted to keep that to our identity at the time. Our V, Z, ML, Cadillac, etc. Right. And this year we kind of rounded out with the same features, same components, but we rounded out that line with a really, really high end that has the Nash Vegas, which is similar to a Tele. Yeah. And then we also have the Exile that's very similar to a modified Super Strat.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are really, really good because a lot of our artists don't necessarily love shapes. Some of them love them, some of them don't. Mm-hmm. And we want to have a full rounded out line that is all quality, but that caters to a broader consumer audience.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just, I saw the Nash Vegas, the Tele shape, and then, like you said, the Super Strat. It's like, that is immediately popping off of the wall, and then it'll pop off the shelf because it's those iconic shapes. And I love them. I love V's, for example, but not everybody likes a V, and not everybody likes a Z, or there's more conservative shapes out there for people, and that's awesome. And when I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, like this is awesome, literally awesome. So I was really excited to hear about that. Going forward into 2020 now. You said I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said something last night about having them available sooner rather than later. You said your acronym of not available maybe May for NAM. Like, talk about that, please.
So, the running joke is NAM stands for not available maybe May. Yeah. And that was one big focus when I took over the company. I said, look, guys, you can be best, you can be first. And we always strive to be best, but being first and best is a great asset. Yeah. And so I kept harping on that, and I said, guys, look, if we can have everything, we don't want to tantalize dealers and dangle a carrot and then take it away and say, well, in 3 or 4 months you can get that. Yeah. When we release it and all the hype and the momentum is there and people are excited about it, I want to be able to give them that in their hands immediately. Right. And, I think that's very important for customer service. Same thing with Amazon. People expect that package to be there in a day or two. Yeah. And it's the same thing when we do a big event, spend a lot of time and effort hyping something up, and then there's a 4-month lag, you lose a lot of that. Yeah. And it's not fair to the consumer. It's not fair to the dealer. So a big focus has been getting stuff on time and getting it right.
Right. Yeah. Just from my own personal, I'm not a dealer. I'm a consumer. I consider myself a consumer, and not to name any brand names or anything, but there was an amp that really piqued my interest last year, and it's still not out. It was released 2019 NAM. It's still not out. And it was something that I personally would want, a lot of people want, but it's still not out. And so when you said that last night, it's like, you're just gaining that competitive edge, and you care. It just shows you care, man. You're not just being like, oh, check out this new model, it'll be out Halloween 2020. It's like nobody's gonna wait for that. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta, like I said, you gotta be first. You gotta be the best, and you're doing that.
And again, back to the whole reason I'm in this industry. It's passion oriented, and it's something that I really genuinely care about. I care about my consumers. I care about my dealers. I care about my reps. And to put them out into the cold, or to put them on the front lines with no ammunition and no ability to make things work, it's unfair to everyone. So a big focus again has been getting things out in time, making sure that we provide customer service that's unparalleled, and making sure that when people demand something and we represent something, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything else that I don't know about yet, or anything that hasn't been released that you would like to say, either to people playing your instruments, to the general public, just like as a final thing that you would like to say?
So I'll tell you this, and a little off topic on the Dean brand, but for D-Drum in particular, with what we're doing with the electronics, we're coming out with some really, really cool stuff. I can't spill the beans yet, but they're going to be a very interesting trigger system, a new module, and a new kind of, what I would like to think is a new way that drummers will end up playing with triggers. A totally new philosophy, and something that I think is very cutting edge and groundbreaking. Awesome. Coming back to the roots with D-Drum, and with Dean, of course, focusing on Kerry King this year, coming out with those import models as soon as possible, and really furthering that brand on the high end, the top-down mentality for Dean. USA's Select Series, that's what people want to play, that's what people should be playing, and that's what we're trying to really market towards.
Right. Absolutely. Well, hey, Evan, I want to thank you so much for inviting me, taking the time, and just everybody be on the lookout for everything Armadillo Enterprises does. It's exciting to be here, and it's exciting to be not only a player, a musician, but a fan of what you do. And I just want to thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for making the trip out.
Hey, all right, guys, take care.